Boom, we are live. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the NHA YouTube channel. I thank you for being here, and thank goodness, I have good news as the Iowa Hawkeyes finally spurned a 2-game losing streak, beating the Minnesota Golden Gophers 71-59. And right off the bat, guys, I mean, the normal ways the Iowa Hawkeyes get W's, that was not necessarily the case against Minnesota. And Minnesota, if you weren't aware of this coming into this, they are chock full of transfers. That is one benefit that new coaches have now that they did not once have, such as Fran McCaffrey, which is transfers, being able to get quality transfers every now and again, if you can get that side of it done. But basketball is one of those sports where you absolutely cannot just put a bunch of guys together and expect it to work out. And Minnesota is figuring that out. They are 2 games now above 500. I'm actually surprised at the success that they have been able to have, considering all the transfers that they have had come in. But regardless, the Iowa Hawkeyes needed to pick up that victory, and they did on the shoulders of their top 2 players, Patrick McCaffrey and Keegan Murray. Keegan Murray, guys, what more can I say? But before we get into any of that, I want to ask you to smash the subscribe button because, well, subscribing makes you feel good. Guys, we are so close to 1,000 subs. I can taste it. It's been a little slow now that it is not the football season, and that is understandable. But if you're ever 50-50 on it, just think to yourself, you know what? Subscribing does make me feel good. And you know what? I want to help out a fellow Hawkeye trying to get it done, trying to entertain me at all costs. And so that is that. By the way, I'll put the PayPal link in the description. Follow me on Twitter at 247Hawkeye. And that is about it. And without further ado, let's get into this. So the Iowa Hawkeyes started the game kind of slow against Minnesota. Minnesota got out to, I think, a 7-0 lead. Minnesota started the game really well. For the Iowa Hawkeyes, Jordan Bohannon hit a few shots. And this was probably the biggest difference, or the most noticeable difference would be, guess what? J-Bo was starting at point guard. And I told you guys this. I've said this probably a million times now, that it is obvious. It has been obvious of the trust that Fran McCaffrey has in Jordan Bohannon. We've seen example after example after example of tight spots, even in games where J-Bo is playing awfully, where Fran McCaffrey goes to him in the final, 5 minutes. And this was no different. Iowa was on a 2-game losing streak. Now, do I know the ins and outs of the Iowa basketball program? Of course not. If I had to guess, it would be one of 3 things why Joe Toussaint was suddenly not in the starting lineup. Number 1, he was not getting it done. Just simply put, he was not getting it done. Number 2, he had a slight injury and was on what's known as a minutes restriction. And number 3, he got into some team violation situation, and Fran McCaffrey decided to not start him and go a different route against Minnesota. So for me to sit here and pretend that I know for sure what the answer is would just not be accurate. Okay. I don't know what is going on behind the scenes. If I had to guess, and let me preface it with this is a guess, I don't think that it was an injury concern considering Joe Toussaint still played. I was watching the game and I'm like, okay, you know what? It might be an injury. And then Joe Toussaint came into the game and I'm like, no, I know how it works being a former Division I athlete myself. If you're sitting out because of it, the bottom line is it's either you can go or you can't. And if you can go, you're not going to get really any minutes restrictions. It's kind of one or the other. And as soon as Joe Toussaint entered the game, I'm like, that's not it. He does not have some lingering injury issue, because if he did, he would have just sat out like Connor McCaffrey did. So that leaves two things. One, he either violated team rules, or two, he's just not getting it done. And Fran wanted to make a change. And I think it's probably two. Fran McCaffrey wanted to make a change. And the reality is, guys, that Joe Toussaint hasn't been bad, but he hasn't made the step that one would think he was capable of making in his third year, especially after being a starter for one full season and getting solid minutes for his sophomore campaign. I mean, Joe Toussaint has been given excellent minutes since the moment he stepped on the Iowa campus, but he is pretty much the same player that we saw from him in his freshman season, with the exception of a few things. One, he's a little bit more controlled. He doesn't turn the ball over as much as he used to. And that's good. That is excellent. But as far as talent progression, it's the same old. He can get to the rim. He can finish at the rim. He's an excellent passer. He's an excellent defender, but he is a bad shooter. He is a below average shooter, and the defenses therefore sag off of him. Now, with regards to what I was saying with Jabo and, Fran McCaffrey trusting him, it's simple, guys. I told you that Fran McCaffrey would find a way to make Jordan Bohannon the starting point guard sooner or later, and it looks like I was correct. As I said, I have said that many, many times. I knew it was going to happen. I knew it was just a matter of time. Even before the season even started, I knew it was going to happen, because Fran has shown time and time and time again that he trusts Jordan Bohannon. Now, if Jordan has the type of defensive performance we saw from him against Minnesota, then I have no problem with his performance, because as I have also previously said, rebounding and defense is all about effort. Offense is about skill. Rebounding and defense are about effort. And Jabo put in a solid defensive performance the other night. Now, Aaron Eulis also had a good game, but we will get into all that. The long and the short of the game, I'm sure most of you guys saw it, is it was neck and neck in the first half. Iowa was never really able to take the lead in the first half. They would take 2 steps forward and 3 steps back, or 1 step back, and they just could not take the lead in the first half. And then as soon as the second half started, they just locked it down. They locked Minnesota up, locked them up, with excellent steals from Jabo, Keegan Murray. Tony Perkins had an excellent defensive performance. I love the defense he provides the Iowa Hawkeyes on the perimeter. I thought Iowa played physical. They played fast. And it was just an excellent defensive performance from the Iowa Hawkeyes in the second half. And, I'm blanking on his name. I can't believe I'm forgetting his name. The guy who was the commentator for the Iowa Hawkeyes game against Minnesota. He played for Purdue. You know what? I got to pause this and find his name. Robbie Hummel. That's his name. Robbie Hummel. He was in college while I was in high school. He was one of my favorite players to watch. But Robbie Hummel said when he was asked what this game meant for the Iowa Hawkeyes, and he said that this means that the Iowa Hawkeyes are capable of putting together a full defensive performance like they did against Minnesota. And if they can put that type of effort in every single night, who knows what this Iowa Hawkeye team will be capable of. And I could not agree more. Offensively, this Iowa team has some solid aspects to it. They have multiple 6'8", 6'9" guys that can get to the rim, that can shoot, that can rebound, that are very, very versatile in Patrick McCaffrey, Keegan, and his brother, Chris Murray. Now, in reality, they don't have the same easy bucket getter that they had last year in Luka Garza and the years prior, which will affect some of their offensive efficiency. And at times, I think this Iowa team settles for too many three-point jumpers. And at times, they actually go too fast for their own good. If you ever have wondered why the Iowa Hawkeyes never seem to have a safe lead over another team, it's because of the pace that they play at. The pace that they play at gives them a ton of possessions, but if the Iowa Hawkeyes go cold, it also gives the other team a ton of possessions and a ton of possessions to get back into the ball game. Now, what am I saying? I'm saying that this Iowa team is not as offensively efficient as last year's team, but they are still elite offensively. Iowa is still a top 10 offensive efficiency team. And as long as they can stay top 15 in their efficiency on offense, they will be golden. The question comes on the defensive side. And I have said, if only they can become a top 75 defensive efficiency team, I think that this team could make a Sweet 16 run. I think that they have the athletes. I think they have the type of player to get them over the hump. I think they have the veteran leadership. This is the type of team that doesn't have too much pressure on them, but does have enough talent to make it to the second weekend in a big tournament because they play cohesively and because they have some leaders, veteran leadership in Connor McCaffrey, and gosh darn it, Jordan Bohannon, and they have NBA talent in Patrick McCaffrey, Keegan Murray, and Chris Murray. Now, let's take a look at some of the stats here. Keegan Murray had 24 points. Patrick McCaffrey had 18 points. So they played excellent. Jabo hit a couple of threes early, and then he went kind of cold for the rest of the game. Tony Perkins had 2 points on 18 minutes, and I thought he played fine. I really did. I thought Tony Perkins played fine. I would not be surprised if Joe Toussaint was on a minutes restriction, either for an injury or for a team violation, and will be inserted back into the lineup. But I liked what Tony Perkins gave the Iowa Hawkeyes. Tony Perkins is 6'4", and he is long. He's athletic. He's a thick, big body at the shooting guard position. And quite frankly, he's slightly a better shooter than Joe Toussaint. Not by much, but slightly better. So I thought his first start was positive. Aaron Eulis had a excellent game. He was active defensively. He ran the offense when he came in at point guard. And quite frankly, he was rewarded for it from Billy Taylor, giving him 21 minutes. And Aaron Eulis put in 9 points, 5 rebounds, and 2 assists. People forget Aaron Eulis is a solid 6'2", 6'3" at the point guard position. Chris Murray had kind of a quiet night. He had an air ball from the 3-point line and kind of wasn't feeling it from then on. You can tell that the game experience that Keegan Murray has had from last year has, if you compare him to his brother Chris, the primary difference is just the game experience. Keegan is more mature as a basketball player than Chris currently is, and it is pretty obvious. So he had a quiet night. Peyton Sandfort had a nice little game. He had some nice rebounds, hit a nice 3-point shot. Putting in 5 points in 10 minutes is all you can really ask for. And Joe Toussaint with 6 minutes, man, I really don't know what's going on there. I really do not know what is going on there. And we will see moving forward. We will see. Now, what does this win mean? Well, it doesn't mean a whole lot. It's better than losing to Minnesota. I can tell you that. Iowa remains in the top 25 in the KenPom. They moved up to number 21. And they have an offensive efficiency of a 10 and a defensive efficiency of 90. It is nice to see them in the top 100 in the defensive efficiency yet again. Well, not yet again, for the first time in a while. Now, this is Iowa's net team sheet, and Iowa moved up 1 spot from 23 to 22 after that victory. And here are their other rankings. Let me zoom this in for you guys so you guys can see this even more. I would say currently Iowa is safely in the NCAA tournament. I know I've seen 1 or 2 publications that does not have Iowa in, or at the very least, they are low seeded teams, 10 to 12. In the NCAA tournament. But if we look at the metrics, by every metric, Iowa is solid. KPI 50, strength of record 49, BPI 18th, KenPom 21st, and SAG 21st. And RPI, they are 43rd, which, as you know, the net rankings replace the RPI when it comes to selection. Is it Selection Sunday? Well, the selection committee for the NCAA tournament. I don't know why they don't have the RPI here. And here are the quadrant victories. This win versus Minnesota went down as a quad 3 victory. Who knows? Maybe that will improve later on in the season, but I doubt it. Minnesota is ranked 101st in the net rankings. And as you guys can see, the other quadrant 1 and quadrant 2 victories the Iowa Hawkeyes have secured. Ohio State would have been a great chance for the Iowa Hawkeyes to get a quadrant 1/quadrant 2 victory. I'm trying to see here where Penn State would be. Let's go back here and let's see what Ohio State's game would have been. Yeah, that would have been a quadrant 1 game 100% against Ohio State. So listen, folks, Iowa looked good. Their defense looked good, and we are going to wrap this up here. Up next, the Iowa Hawkeyes have Maryland, and this win was positive. Over the next 6 games, folks, Iowa should win at least 4 of those games. They have Maryland, they have Nebraska, they have Michigan, they have Michigan State, they have Nebraska, and they have Northwestern. They should beat Northwestern. They should beat Nebraska. They should beat Nebraska both times, and they should beat Maryland. Now, we'll see what happens. Like I said, they should win 4 of a possible 6 games in their next 6. And if they can do that, they'll be in good shape. They will be in good shape. So I like what I saw from Keegan, and I like what I saw from Patrick. Patrick has put a nice run of solid offensive performances together. He is starting to mature as a basketball player. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me. Again, I want to ask you to smash that subscribe button because, well, subscribing makes you feel good. And at the very least, like, comment, share. I try and comment to all your guys' comments the best I can. Be sure to go to 247hawkeye.com. Follow me on Twitter at 247Hawkeye. And lastly, I will put the PayPal link in the description if you want to support the channel financially. And of course, last but not least, DBAP, don't be a pussy willow, and facts are feelings because your feelings don't matter. Love y'all. See y'all next time. Bye.